Well, thanks for joining me. Good morning as we're continuing in First Corinthians chapter 5 and verse number 7 now. Paul is saying here, cleanse out the old leaven that you may be a new lump. Cleanse out that which is sinful, that which is evil, that which is displeasing in the sight of God. And he says, Christ, our Passover lamb, he has been sacrificed. He has been slain for us. Let us therefore celebrate the festival. They celebrated the Passover in the Old Testament. And he says, let us now as believers, let us celebrate this festival, not with the old leaven, the leaven of sin. He says the leaven of malice and evil. Move those away, put those aside. But he says with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. Sincerity. People who are followers of Jesus, we have got to be sincere. God is looking for purity of heart and sincerity. Many times, we may not be sincere, even though we pretend to be, but we're not. Sincerity is very important. Sincerity and truth. Truth is that which is in accordance with Scripture, not our truths. And some think, I have my truth, you have your truth. No. Jesus said, thy word is truth. The Bible tells us Jesus, he is the way, the truth, and the life. So that which is consistent with Scripture, the teachings of the Bible, and with Jesus. He says, remove that. Remove any kind of leaven, any kind of wickedness, any kind of sin, and move forward with the unleavened bread of sincerity and truth. And he says, now he's going to move on to something different. He says, I wrote to you in my letter not to associate with sexually immoral people. Sexually immoral people. Okay? Not at all meaning the sexually immoral of this world. So Paul, when he's saying that, he wrote in another letter. So there's another letter that Paul wrote to the Corinthians, which we don't have. But he's saying, I wrote to you about not associating with the sexually immoral. But he was not referring to the people in the world. He's not referring to talking people in the church. He says, and do not also associate also with the greedy. People who are always out, they're just greedy. Swindlers, con men, people are just out to outsmart you to get what you have. Or those in idolatry. Idolaters. Idolatry was prominent in the time of the New Testament. And he says, since then you would need to go out of this world. So what he's saying, as Jesus said, you are in the world, but you're not of the world. So we do mix with people of the world, people who are in sin, people who are greedy, people who are sexually immoral, people who are swindlers, and so on, and idolaters. He said, I'm not talking about that. I'm not telling you to stay away from people in the world, because you have to mix with them as you work, you study, you live among them. And we're going to take this up tomorrow.